A very good morning to all. As the chief guest is about to arrive, I request everyone to take their seats, and the probationers are requested to kindly switch off their mobile phones. I request all of you to rise in welcome of our distinguished chief guest, Sri A.T.N. Rao sir. I request the guests to take their seat while we wait for the parents of late Sri Sanjay Singh sir, as well as the chief guest for today's occasion. I request all of you to rise once again in welcome of our distinguished chief guest, Shri Adrian Rao sir. I request parents of late Sanjay Singh sir to take their seats. And I request the chief guest and director IGNFA to kindly take their seats on the dais. Thank you, sirs. I, Urvashi Jain, I request everyone to take their seats. I, Urvashi Jain, IFS probationer from the 2022 batch, extend a warm welcome to all of you. A martyr does not die, his sacrifices live on forever. We have gathered here today for the solemn occasion to commemorate and pay tribute to the late Sri Sanjay Kumar Singh. I deem it an honor and privilege to give the brief life profile of Sir. Late Sanjay Kumar Singh was born on the 13th September 1967 at Belhami Jairam village of Sitamarhi district of Bihar to Dr. Ghanshyam Narayan Singh and Dr. Kanti Singh. He did his B.Tech in Textile Engineering from IIT Delhi and then Masters in Computer Applications from JNU New Delhi. He cleared the Indian Forest Service and joined the 1992-94 course in IGNFA, where he displayed meritorious performance by securing several gold and silver medals for extraordinary achievements in various disciplines and co-curricular activities. He was allotted to the Bihar State as cadre, where he did exemplary work for the protection of forests and conservation of biodiversity, and took stern action against illegal mining. He was uncompromising on basic principles, which is evident from the fact that he lodged a number of FIRs against offenders, including administrative officials, despite tremendous pressures from various corners. He has also paid special attention to generate employment for the poor people under various afforestation and other developmental programs. On 15th of February 2002, he proceeded to inspect the construction work of a recently built road in Sasaram division. After reaching the range office, some armed men dressed in police dress asked him to stop, questioned him, and demanded him money for commission for the road that was being built. Sanjay Singh denied their demands. There was a heated argument, but soon the goodwill of Sanjay sir for the villagers through the construction of roads, school buildings, and primary health centers overcame it, and all the villagers gathered in his support. But the armed men started firing and separated Sri Sanjay Singh from other forest officials and moved him into the forest. And then they fired at him. This marked the end of a life of an honest and courageous officer to whom the highest tribute is not of grief, but that of gratitude. To immortalize his sacrifice and service, the Sanjay Kumar Singh Memorial Trust, a registered non-profit public charitable trust, has been formed to support the activities related to the cause of protection of forest and the environment. In addition to this, a government college in Kaimur district and a park at Sasaram has been named after him. State-level organizations and media have conferred him with the title of Shaheed. His parents have donated medals to IGNFA so as to perpetuate his memory. There is a Sanjay Singh Memorial Gold Medal awarded every year to the IFS probationer for ranking first in the subject of forest management and environment conservation. Nothing said or done can bring back this nation's brave son. But each year, the Sanjay Kumar Singh Memorial Lecture, organized at IGNFA, is a humble effort to pay homage to the memory of this brave man and to honor the sacrifice of our forest martyrs. Now, I invite Ms. Gulleen Kaur, IFS probationer from the 2022 batch, to present the welcome address.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, and esteemed guests, a warm good morning to all. I, Gurleen Kaur, wholeheartedly welcome respected Shri A.D.N. Rao sir, the chief guest of today's program, who has kindly consented to deliver the Sanjay Kumar Singh Memorial Lecture on this occasion. Sir, your presence and participation dignifies and amplifies the significance of this event. May I now invite Director IGNFA to greet Shri A.D.N. Rao with a bouquet. Thank you, sir. I welcome respected Director IGNFA Dr. Jagmohan Sharma to this solemn occasion to commemorate and pay tribute to late Sanjay Kumar Singh sir. I sincerely welcome the parents and family members of late Sanjay Kumar Singh sir who have travelled all the way from Patna and joined us to pay tribute to their son and grace the occasion. We are honored to have you on this occasion. I I feel proud to welcome our distinguished guest, Shrimati Kanchan Devi, DG, ICFRE, Shri Anurag Bhardwaj, Director, DFE, Shri Santosh Tiwari, DDG, IRO, whose presence and participation are invaluable in this program. I extend a warm welcome to the retired Indian Forest Service officers present here, faculty members from IGNFA, senior IFS officers from ICFRE, DFE, FRI, FSI, WII, IRO, CASFOS Dehradun, and IFS officer participating in the live training workshop at IGNFA. Your collective experience and participation will definitely enrich this event. I also welcome the IFS probationers and foreign trainees of 2022 batch and IFS probationers and foreign trainees of 2023 batch. I also extend a warm welcome to officials, staff of IGNFA, scholars, and other guests present here. Your diverse perspectives and interaction contribute to the vibrant spectrum of this lecture. In this somber moment, I, on behalf of Director IGNFA, extend a warm welcome to each one of you to this memorial lecture. We have a firm belief that the supreme sacrifice and principles upheld by Shri Sanjay Kumar Singh Sir will continue to inspire and motivate foresters at various levels for selfless protection and conservation of forest for the mankind. Thank you.
Thank you, Gulleen. As a tribute to his sacrifice and in memory of late Sri Sanjay Kumar Singh, IGNFA envisages a symbolic ritual that holds deep cultural significance, the lighting of the lamp and the floral tributes. May I now request respected Sri A.D.N. Rao sir, the chief guest of this occasion, to come forward to light the lamp. I request Director IGNFA to kindly join for the lighting of the lamp. May I also request the parents of late Sanjay Kumar Singh, Dr. Ghanshyam Singh and Dr. Kanti Singh to kindly join for lighting of the lamp. Thank you, sirs and madam. May I now request the Chief Guest and Director IGNFA to garland the portrait. Thank you again. May I now request the Chief Guest and Director IGNFA to garland the portrait of late Sri Sanjay Kumar Singh and pay tribute to him. I request the parents of Sanjay Kumar Singh to pay tributes. May I also request the heads of the institutions present to pay floral tributes. Due to paucity of time, we are proceeding further, and all other guests are requested to pay their respects through floral tributes at the end of this formal program. I request everyone to kindly take their seats, and I request the chief guest and director, sir, to take their seats on the dais. It is often said that parents are the first teachers, shaping the minds of their children with values and wisdom. We are indeed privileged to have in our presence the parents of late Sri Sanjay Kumar Singh. His father, Dr. Ghanshyam Singh, is a retired university professor, and like his son, his integrity and dedication to serve shines through in his work. As a token of respect and honor, I request Director Sir to present a shawl and a book to Dr. Ghanshyam Singh. His mother, Dr. Kanti Singh, is also a retired university professor. As a token of our gratitude and respect, I request ma'am to present a shawl to his mother. I request Director Sir to present a book in respect of the parents. Thank you, sirs and ma'am. I request Director Sir to take his seat on the dais. May I now request Dr. Ghanshyam Singh, father of late Shri Sanjay Kumar Singh, to share few words on this occasion as a message to the next generation of forest officers.
Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to be the first speaker of this Sanjay Singh 22nd Sanjay Kumar Singh Memorial Lecture. Mr. Director, sir, all the faculty members and young professionals who always give an impression to me to live for long. For long because I may understand while coming here and addressing you, I always feel that my Sanjay is living with me with this institution which has given him the training to become a honest, brave and courageous officer who had been honored by various national and international medias. ABN Rao, the main speaker of this um, memorial lecture, is known to me for long because I remember while pleading as uh, the case, I was called. I mean, at that time when the case came up as suo motu by the then Chief Justice of Supreme Court of India. I was also enrolled there after after the faculty, the university, living the university life. I was there and was allowed me to be intervener of the case. And I think at the end of was also assisting Salve and others, and they all helped me like anything. Well, I would like to say two things, two things to you. First is that the good works, good deed of the man always remembered by the society. And that is the only thing that makes one living in a material thing is nothing. It goes. If you see the history of the material wealth that the persons acquired, it goes to three generations only in a house or other. But when you do something for the nation, for the country, then you will be remembered for all. Well, the young professionals, you have got the great responsibility coming ahead of the society. The society, the responsibility is to man, not the person, but the nature which has got no expression, which can't express their feelings to you. You are to feel their sentiments, their emotions, and all that by observing that. And climate has become the pivot of the axis of the whole system that is coming up. I am now also the president of Indian Economic Association, the highest body professional organization of India. And there also for last two consecutive years, I was earlier a conference president, and now I am the association president. And there also we made a climate change one of the topic for discussion. And you know, G20 also it has given the emphasis. And now when Prime Minister was there in UAE, he has also taken up the issue with other issues also. This climate change is that. And you, my young friend, you are responsible to see as to how climate can be controlled, how their sensitivity can be felt by you and all that. So when this institute, uh, I feel the institute is very important in building the moral character of the person. And I bow before you all, young boy, young cadet, and the institute which has produced such a brilliant product who has done marvelous work. Sanjay was not alone. There are many, Virappan cases also has been taken up by your product. And that is the great thing. Institute is known not by the quality of education, but it is known also by, along with the quality of education, it is also one the who are the products and how the products followed their spirit which you taught in they learned it here in the institute. I being in the academic for a long time and still associated with that, I know that knowledge is very important thing, and knowledge is important only when it has been imparted by the institution which has got their own record of service. Indira Gandhi Forest Academy is one of the institute, and I bow before it for producing various other, including that of my great son. You see, whenever I come here to address the young professional, I always come with a mixed feeling of pains that is my personal. I can't express it. Wherever I go, people know it, and but then they say it, they honor me, but I don't express it. But the important thing is that the Sanjay is known as a product of Indira Gandhi Forest Academy. This academy owes a great, and I think that we should, young professionals should learn at what others, their fellow, did for the nation, for the nature. Well, in that context, I say, when the sad incident happened on 15th February 2022, whole of the media, both print and electronic media, they covered it in a big way. And the next day only, the then Kripal was the Chief Justice, and he took it suo moto notice and listed the case as what we call the how a brave forest officer was killed in Bihar. Is it not? That was the hearing that is still there. And thereafter, various other things given to his family. But in spite of the fact that then State Council pleaded for the benefit that he was to give to me, but I thought I refused any monetary gift because if I get monetary from here, that is not the reward. Reward is to remember Sanjay as a cadet of as a brave product of Indira Gandhi Forest Academy. And you see, in his name, till today, something today, here or there, is being remembered. This is the great thing in my society where I live, in Netherhat Old Boys Association Society. You might be knowing those persons who are related with education what Netherhat is. Netherhat has produced the most brilliant students of the nation, and many of them are in the highest position of the administrative and other position of the nation. So Netherhat, the colony in which I am living, there the estate, even the Patna Municipal Corporation is given the name of the Veer Sanjay Novapat, Nova Netherhat Old Boys Association. So till today, even on 15th of February, various other functions are being performed on behalf. First is his name, one college was earlier named other women's college. Now that has been named as Shahid Sanjay Singh. But on the demand of public, the name has been named as Shahid Sanjay Singh Mahavidyalaya, Women's College. There also function is going on. Today, Bihar, one Virta Divas, Bihar government forest department has declared 15th of February as one Virta Divas, and that is being observed. I am invited there. But I give always the prime priority of visiting this college. In spite of my bad health even, in spite of all the odds, I take it a priority. Or this priority is to just feel the pride of Sanjay, which he has given to the society, which your product, Mr. Director, which the institute has produced. I have all the voluminous things which I wanted to many. I have donated all the gold medal, silver medal that we own in Netherheart and all the institutions, even Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy of Year. So all we have donated. Now I thought earlier also that all the print volumes, that print media, electronic media presentation is not with me, and that is there. I wanted to bring it to me, but before that, like Mr. Director, I request you, I am going to send that voluminous media report to you. The printing is there to keep it in the library, because at that time the chief of the forest department, he introduced here, even director also endorsed that that should be a Sanjay case, or any various other cases should be made of the curriculum to discuss a case study of how a brave forest officers are being made. So I will tell you, and if you can make it a part of the curriculum for the student, it will be a good help. All inspiration. Help is nothing, but inspiration is more. So I request you this time that I am going to send it to you by post, or next year if I leave. I think that my inspiration is to live here for Sanjay, for your institute, and if I leave, I will bring it next year also to give you, and to kindly give a place in your library. So, my young friend, as a father of Sanjay, my only request to you is that you are to protect the thing, the nature which has got no voice. You have to feel the feeling, and then you should govern it and protect it. That is the great help. That will be the great help for the society, and it will live, because that is the whole humanity, whole the nature seems and lives with the nature. So you have to control the nature. I hope you will do it. I once again pay my respect to you all, because it is one among Sanjay, one among you that came Sanjay. And I always feel that every cadet product whom I address here, they all are my Sanjay. They will live it. Because I remember whenever I go out and some people feel my name, my your ex-IFS, the professional who attended his memorial lecture, they call on me. I remember at Bangalore, the chief came to me and said that he asked the university whether he is the Shampan Shamsin. Then they endorsed it. Then he came to me and paid their respect and remember Sanjay in a big immense help. So this is all because this institute has produced a brilliant, and I hope you all will follow the installation that you are getting, the discipline, the man to the person to care the nature. That is all the message to you, that Sanjay is an example. And you, or you should, everybody has got that spirit who can become Sanjay, but only thing is that how opportunity comes to you and how you control the opportunity. And I hope every one of you will take a vow to control the emotion of the nature and protect the nature which depends on you. Thank you very much once again for giving me an opportunity to come here and address you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for such a moving address. We have taken your message about the huge responsibility that is on our shoulders, especially with respect to climate change and protection of nature. And I can assure you, sir, that we shall honor the sacrifice of your son through our work, and we shall work with integrity and devotion. Thank you, sir. Now, I invite Sri Tarun S., IFS probationer from the 2022 batch, to introduce the chief guest of today's program.
Respected ladies and gentlemen, in this solemn moment of remembrance, we are privileged to have with us a distinguished person who not only champions justice in the courtroom, but also embodies the principle that honor the memory of those we've lost. Please join me in welcoming Sri Adian Rao, a beacon of legal excellence, an environmental crusader, and a compassionate advocate of truth and fairness. Sir is a resident of Uttar Pradesh. He completed his education from the Frank Anthony Public School, New Delhi. He has a degree in political sciences from Sri Venkateswara College, New Delhi, and a degree in law from Sir C.R. Reddy Law College, Andhra Pradesh. Sir began his legal career at the Delhi High Court and made his first recorded appearance at the Supreme Court of India in 1992. Sir's legal expertise includes matters relating to constitution, environment, civil, criminal, and service. Landmark cases in which Sir has appeared on behalf of the prosecution include Bofor's case, Bihar border camps case, JMM bribery case. Sir has appeared as a counsel for the Honorable Supreme Court of India in important cases pertaining to service matters such as Indra Jaising versus Supreme Court of India and Vishnu Shankar Jain versus Supreme Court of India. As a testament to the immense faith and the high regard that the Honorable Supreme Court of India holds in men, he was appointed as an amicus curiae in important cases such as T.N. Godavarman Tirumalapat versus Union of India and others, M.C. Mata versus Union of India, Common Cause versus Union of India, Goa Foundation versus Union of India. All landmark judgments that course the change of course of environmental protection in India. Sir has been empaneled as a counsel for distinguished organizations such as Archaeological Survey of India, Life Insurance Corporation of India, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, and others. Sir has also been serving as a counsel for the Ministry of Environment, Forest, and Climate Change for the past 11 years. For his outstanding contribution to the pursuit of justice for the past 35 years, he was designated as the senior advocate by the Honorable Supreme Court of India in the year 2021. Sir, as we stand here today commemorating those who not only left us, but also left an indelible mark on our lives, it is an honor to have you here. I now request our distinguished chief guest, Sri Adian Rao, to deliver the memorial lecture to this august gathering and the youngest IFS officers of this country. Well, 12/3/2001.
Gandhiji had said that the nature has provided sufficient for mankind's needs, but not for its greed. And it is this greed of mankind which killed late Sanjay Kumar. And as his father had asked, I also implore upon you to contain your greed because you are blessed to be the protector of nature. The job which you are going to do is the same. Let me remind you, before I delve into the other cases, that if you are there to protect the orders of the courts are there for you. While implementing the order, I'm only indicating to you that if you are there to stand by your duty, the courts will come to protect you. One such case happened in 2001. What happened was one forest officer, DFO, in Badau district, had tried to protect and had restrained a tractor containing illegal wood from moving out. Unfortunately, the owner of a tractor was an influential person and son of a minister. So they tried to influence. A lot of pressure was because he was a minister. A lot of pressure was put through the local SP also.
But hats off to this DFO. He did not yield and confiscated the tractor with the illegal. Now, when the administration and the police are against you, you can imagine what problems you will have. Those days, one of the sweeping powers which the police had was arresting a person under the SCSV Atrocities Act because it does not contain a provision for bail. So it so happened that somehow that officer came to us and said, "This is my plight, sir. What do I do? If I go back to the city, I'll be arrested." The time was too short because he had come to me on a Thursday, which incidentally reminds me that probably, that's my recollection, I may be right, I may be wrong, that even Sanjay was killed on a Thursday, which happened to be 15th. Why I remember is because this forest bench used to sit only on Fridays, and we used to call it a Jumma bench. So immediately after Sanjay was killed, next day morning, the Chief Justice, then Chief Justice, asked me, those days I was appearing for the Ministry of Environment and Forest, asked me, "What is this? What has happened?" So we indicated and I had requested the court that we will do something. And I, without seeking any instructions from the ministry, said something must be done for this family, and which was endorsed by then late Shri B.B. Singh, who was the government counsel for the state of Bihar. Later on, of course, things took a different turn because of the refusal of Shri Ghanshyam Singh ji not to accept certain things. Then the job was given. We are not, that's not a question of either environment or mining. We will not go into that, but that it's our. So coming back to this incident of Badao, what happened was he came to me on a Thursday evening. I said, "Tomorrow morning it's impossible." Because normally in criminal law, if you know, unless you move a bail application, bail will not be ordered by the trial court or high court or supreme. Normally the bail is only by the trial court. It would be very difficult. So Thursday evening you're coming to me, what can I do? It will be very difficult. So next day morning when the matters were being taken, as I said, it was a Juma bench and they used to assemble around 2 o'clock. 2 to 4 used to be the sitting. So when the matters were being taken up, something happened. So I told the judge, "My lord, how do I ask my officers to implement the laws when they are facing such kind of a problem?" He asked me, what happened. So then I narrated this incident. And that is the only one of his cases of this kind till date where bail was granted. If you read this, the amicus curiae has brought to our notice FIR number which is stated to have lodged against the officials of the Forest Department at the behest of SC/ST Commission. Liberty is granted to the amicus to file a formal application. Why I read is that by the time this bail was granted, there was no application for bail. But then, looking at this situation where officers need to be protected for carrying out the duties obediently, diligently, and honestly. Why I am using the word honestly is with the conscious that I started with the word greed. And it is this greed of the others which killed Sanjay. And it is this greed which we will have will create problems for in future and will come in the way of protecting what we are supposed to. Now this order was passed. Subsequently, these things happened, and I have been part of 2 other cases where officers have either been assaulted and one officer has been murdered. One lady officer in Telangana was assaulted because she was trying to stop encroachment of forest land. It was brought in the press. I informed the court, and court immediately stopped all proceedings against her, directed the arrest of the people who were trying to encroach the forest. And mind you, these forest lands are not encroached by poor or small people. The encroachments always takes by the big people in hand with the local police, etc. Further encroachment was stopped. Then the big people were arrested. It's a different story that they got released later on, different grounds, and the state did not appeal against it. And that's where, one of the subjects which we'll discuss comes in whether the forest officials itself, do they require the police powers, or are they dependent upon the police, local police? And local police always gives preference to the politicians or the people in power. We'll dilate into it later. So this is one problem. And then recently also another officer was killed in the state of Andhra Pradesh, borderline, and then we asked for it. And at the intervention of the court, the family has been provided with a good commercial land in the heart of the city. The wife is being provided with a job, and the education of the children is being taken care by the state. Be that as it may, coming back to our memorial lecture, if you tinker with nature, what will happen has been shown to us very clearly and abundantly by the recent COVID, which we have seen and it has shown. Now that reminds me of an incident which I read where a man in the West, a very, very wealthy man in the West, was admitted in the hospital. He was administered oxygen for 2-3 days. And later on, he was being discharged. While being discharged, he was given a very hefty bill. So when he saw the bill, he started crying. Everybody was taken aback. He's such a wealthy man. So a very small amount. Why is he crying? So when asked, he said, I fail to see what nature has been providing me freely for all these years. And just by giving me oxygen for 3 days, I have been charged very heavily. And this is exactly what happened even in our country, where a lot of people died, particularly in Delhi, because of nothing else but lack of oxygen. In villages, this problem was not faced. I went to a particular village near Delhi during COVID, and I was shocked to see that they didn't know what COVID was. They were not wearing masks because the trees were there in abundance and there was free flow of oxygen. And this is exactly what we are blessed to say. We as lawyers will try to do something in court, but you people on the field have the onerous duty of protecting the environment, which includes not only forest, wildlife also. The word environment has been defined as a relation between land, water, air, and the interrelationship of these three items along with humankind and living organisms. So if we do not protect environment, God knows what we will see in future. One example we have seen, which is an indication and a warning. So please take your job seriously. Please take your duties seriously to see whatever we can protect, conserve, and take it carry forward. Now, in the course of this protection, conservation, etc., the National Forest Policy of 1952 was brought in. Mind you, all these policies or laws are pre-independence. Today we have a Forest Forest Act of 1927. We have a forest policy of 1894. Post-independence, we have a policy of 1952. Then there was an Agricultural Commission of 1976. Then we have a policy of 88. One important legislation which has been brought in post-independence is the Forest Conservation Act of 1980. Now it's a very, very short act of, I think, 3 or 4 sections. But the main thrust is, I don't know how, you must be aware of it or to indicate to you. It only says no forest would be converted into non-forest areas or forestry activity for non-forestry activities. without prior permission of the central government. This is the shortest possible. Now, what is non-forestry activities has been defined, including plantations, cardamom plantation, coffee plantations, etc. Now, this is an important piece, and immediately after the enactment of the Forest Conservation Act came the case known as State of Bihar versus uh, Banshiram Modi. Now, the facts of the case are very simple. A man had an existing lease of 20 acres in which he was mining only 5 acres of land. In 5 acres, he was doing mining of a particular mineral. And in the course of excavation of that mineral, he found 2 other items, minerals. Now, under the Mining Act, if you have to mine something for which you do not have a lease or a permission, you will have to take a fresh permission. So, for these 2 extra items, again he went to the government. The state of Bihar gave him the permission for the other 2 areas, for extracting of the other 2 minerals. Now, this was challenged, saying this lease has been granted for the other minerals without prior permission of the central government. State of Bihar took a stand that since the mining was already taking place, there is no need to give permission. The matter went to the court. There, fortunately for the courts and everybody, Sri Banshiram Modi, who was the leaseholder, gave an assurance to the court that he is not going to mine beyond the 5 acres. So there will be no fresh felling, no fresh digging. And the court came to the conclusion that it will be unfair to allow him to mine one mineral, and while in the course of it he will not be allowed to extract the other 2 minerals, because they will anyhow come, but he will not be allowed to sell it, take it. The court said prior permission is not. This is one side. Then came another case, which is known as Ambika, the state of Gujarat, Ambika Quarries. Now, here was a case where also it was an existing mine, but he wanted an extra area. The state of Gujarat gave. Now, here the court held no, since it's an additional area, prior permission is required. So, these are 2 contradictory views which were existing before 96. Then came the question of challenge to some actions being taken under Section 2 of in violation of Section 2 of There were a lot of tree fellings which were going on. It was rampant all over the country. Most of you, when having read or will read about Godavarman, would only know about writ petition number 202 of 1995 filed by Sri Godavarman. Godavarman was not a public interest litigation. He himself was a very, very rich landlord, Janvam lands, Tamil Nadu, Kerala border area. And he was aggrieved by the fact that the local mafia, in collusion with the administration, because the district collector has got powers of granting permissions of felling trees, if it is dangerous to human life under the CRPs. So they were misusing that provision for felling trees. So he had come to court to seeking protection of the courts in dissuading the administration from felling these trees. While this case was being heard, there was another case which had come from Jammu and Kashmir. That's why you will always find that when you find the mention of Godavarman, along with it, you will also find the mention of another writ petition, 171 of 1995, known as Jammu Kashmir Awareness Program. So this case had come. What happened? Both the cases came up simultaneously before the court. When these 2 cases had come, and the court noted this thing, court said this is an all India problem. We'll take up this case. That's how this Godavarman was held. Notice was issued to all the states. Though initially only 2 states were involved, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Notices were issued to all the states. Matter was heard at length. As I said, those days I was for the ministry. We had Sri Harish Shalve, a leading advocate at that point of time, who is a leading advocate even today. Sri Uday Lalit, then he was an advocate who was appointed as an amateur. And after hearing everybody for a couple of days, I think it was 2 weeks together, leaving Monday and Friday, which are admission day. And a detailed order was passed. That order is an interim order. Till date, we do not have a final order. But it is very crucial for the reason. वो दूसरा लगा slide लगा. Equal to 96. Equal to 96. हाँ. अच्छा देखिए. There are certain parts which I will read it to you so that you understand. You know, this is for the first time that as of today, at least till 1996, or even today, I can say it with confidence, that there is no proper definition of the word forest. The High Court of Nagpur, of Maharashtra bench at Nagpur, did try to it. But Godavarman said clearly forest means not only dictionary meaning, lands which have these similar features of a forest, but recorded as forest, classified into whatever it may be, protected, reserved, unreserved, whatever it is, irrespective of the ownership, will be treated as forest for the purpose of Section 2 of the Forest Conservation. Then looking at the rampant felling, which was happening in the Far East, it passed orders. There are certain crucial points here which I must tell you, which as foresters you must know. I'm not that tech savvy. ऊपर. हाँ बस थोड़ा और ऊपर. बस थोड़ा हल्का सा, थोड़ा सा हल्का. हाँ बस ठीक है. Para 4, the Forest Conservation Act 1980 was enacted with a view to check further deforestation, which ultimately results in ecological imbalance, and therefore the provisions of made therein for the conservation of forests and matters therewith must apply to all forests, irrespective of nature of ownership or classification. When it says nature of ownership, it includes private forests also, or dictionary meaning, classification thereof. The word forest must be understood according to its dictionary meaning. This description covers all statutorily recognized forests, whether designated as reserve, protected, thoda halka niche karo. हाँ. Otherwise, for the purpose of Section 2(1) of the Forest Conservation. Then, after discussing all this, Banshiram Modi and Ambika Query, as I indicated, niche aa jao. बस. We consider it necessary to reiterate the settled position emerging from the decision of this state to dispel the doubt, if any, in the prescription of perception of any state government or authority. This has become necessary also because of the stand taken on behalf of the state of Rajasthan even at this late stage, relating to permission granted for mining in such area, which is clearly contrary to the decisions of this court. It therefore, before we go into the general descriptions, why they mention the state of Rajasthan here, despite the earlier two orders in the Kandika Quarry Mills, the state of Rajasthan took a stand that there is no permission required, even at the stage of granting of extension of the mills, under the EIA notification, etc. The existing ones are safe, but when they come for expansion, renewal, the act applies. The EIA notification applies. Therefore, they said mention specifically about state of Rajasthan. One thing about Rajasthan very peculiarly is, which I have come to know with experience, there is a ban in mining in Aravali Hills. The Aravali Hills are one of the most ancient hills which exist on the outskirts of Delhi. Now, this prevents as a barrier of the cold winds blowing into Rajasthan, which come from Himalayas. Similarly, it prevents the state of Delhi, Haryana from being desertified from the impact of the Rajasthan Thar, etc. Now, therefore, this area has been, by an order dated 29/10/2002, mining has been banned in this area. So, to get over the problem, the state of Rajasthan came out with a peculiar definition of what is Aravali. So, they said anything above 100 meters would be Aravali and below it would not be. Now, how do you protect the area, upper area, if you dig the area below 100 meters? You can't. So then this was objected to. They said, no, we are talking in terms of different hillocks, where the hill is less than 100 meters in height, it will not be Aravali, where if it is more than 100. So, some states for their own peculiar reasons take different stands. Why I am telling you is because you are going into the field of administration, protection, where you will have to encounter these sort of definitions which come from the particularly administration side. Now, be that as it may, the government, now we'll go to the general directions. Thoda niche karna. हाँ, थोड़ा सा ऊपर करो. In view of the meaning of the word forest of the Act, it is obvious that prior approval of the central government is required for any non-forest activity within the area of any forest in accordance with Section 2. Then after that, in addition to the above, which is general, the tropical wet green forest of Chara, there would be a complete ban on felling of any kind of trees therein because of their particular significance to maintain ecological balance needed to preserve thoda niche karo. Biodiversity. All sawmills, veneer mills, and plywood mills in Tirap and Changlang in Arunachal Pradesh and within a distance of 100 kilometers from its border in Assam should also be closed immediately. The state governments of Arunachal Pradesh and Assam must ensure compliance of this direction. The felling of trees in all forests is to remain suspended except in accordance with the working plans of the state government as approved by the central government. In the absence of any working plan in any other particular state, such as Arunachal Pradesh, where the permit system exists, the permit system is, I don't know how many of you know, in hilly regions, people use wood for construction of their houses, etc., which have to be replaced every 2 years or 3 years, depending upon the nature of the wood. So they are allowed to fell trees for the construction of their houses by issuance of a permit. That was not stopped. That was not stopped because you have to protect the local people also. I'll come to the issue of local people separately also. So this is why the permit system was saved not only in Arunachal Pradesh but even in Himachal Pradesh, which will come down to subsequently. Then, para 4, there shall be a complete ban on the movement of cut trees and timbers from any of these northeastern states to any other state and the country either by road or railway. The Indian Railways and state governments are directed to take all measures. This measure also included, earlier, if you remember, I don't know how many people have traveled by train because these days have changed. Earlier, the railway sleepers used to be wooden sleepers. And after this order, the railways have been directed to do away with the wooden sleepers and go for concrete sleepers. That's why the railways, niche aajo thoda. Then this is important. Each state government should constitute within 1 month expert committee to identify areas which are forest. Because as I said earlier, apart from recorded forests, there are areas which have the forest-like features which have to be denoted as forest. Then next, here there is a clarification that is identify areas, identify plantation trees, those belonging to private, identify Roman 3, identify areas covered by plantation trees belonging to the government and those belonging to the private person. As I said earlier, classification and irrespective of the ownership. Next. और नीचे आ जाओ और नीचे आ जाओ this similarly is for Jammu and Kashmir नीचे आ जाओ और तो एक मिनट insofar as this thing is concerned no sawmills near 100 kilometers is what we saw in the northeast. Here it is 8 kilometers और नीचे आ जाओ in Jammu and Kashmir और नीचे आ जाओ तो तमिलनाडु कैंटी एटसेट और थोड़ा सा नीचे और थोड़ा एक मिनट. Now this is important, the underlined portion. This order, that is this order of 12/12/96, shall be read, notify. This order will operate and be complied with all concerned, notwithstanding any order at variance made or which may be made hereafter by any authority, including the central or state government. So this order is final. Why this word, this paragraph has been included is, those days, I must tell you, which you will not be aware, that anybody could go to Calcutta High Court by signing a notarized affidavit there. The Calcutta High Court will get a jurisdiction and you can get any order from Calcutta. So the court was conscious of this and said without this. Second reason why it said is because what happens is the various high courts for various reasons passes orders. So by this paragraph, the jurisdiction of the various high courts were taken away. And if you wanted to do anything, it has to be only done by the Supreme Court of India. That is why you will find even from 1996 till date, the matter is pending. The matter is pending because of the numerous IAs which have been filed seeking modification. And the matter has not attained finality. Today in Godavarman, the IAs have gone more than 6,000. It is there. Simultaneously, this was going on. और थोड़ा सा नीचे आना एक मिनट छोड़ दो हाँ yeah. Para 7 is what I told you about the railway. We are informed that railways authorities are still using wooden sleepers for laying tracks. The Ministry of Railways will file an affidavit giving full particulars, including the extent of wood consumed, then source of wood, and steps taken by them to find alternatives of the way. That is how we have moved from wooden concrete sleepers to the concrete sleepers. Now, while after this order was passed, one basic reason why this order was passed was, as you have seen, 100 kilometers sawmills. Now this illegal timber is transported to the sawmills where it is cut. How do you restrict that? There's a closure of sawmills. Merely because the closure of sawmills would not solve the purpose, because wood is required. And after this order was passed, I remember very well, there was a lot of hue and cry all over the country. It was a politically motivated. All these sawmills, mostly, particularly in the northeast, belong to people in power. They used to extract a lot of illegal money because of this. So they needed a modification of this order. So a lot of hue and cry was created all over the country, saying that wood is not available even at cremation grounds. We are not able to lit the pyres. It is required. The court came out with a solution. It said, okay, we'll open the mill, but all the mills will be located at an identified site. That is how these clusters were created, because then it becomes easy for modification, easy for controlling and checking them. That is an order of 15/1/1998. Then came the industrial estates. Well, after creation of the industrial estates, a lot of things happened. How the movement of the wood. As I said, there was ban in the movement of youth from Northeast. High-powered committee was constituted. What do we do with this wood? You can't allow it to languish. So therefore, they gave the state authorities the power to sell them after identifying. Now in Calcutta, in the Northeast, apart from the highly influential people, most of these sawmills are owned by Agarwals from Calcutta, the Baniyas of Calcutta or nearby. Now they wanted movement of the wood. They couldn't sell there because if you bring cheap wood from there, you can make money. So this high-powered committee was constituted. That committee on one day seized 200 wagons of illegal timber. That was confiscated, and the sale of that somewhere in 1998 fetched about 7 crores. Now comes the story of how this money has to be used. As I said, the IAs used to come for modification of this order. One such IA came was filed by the Power Corporation, Power Grid Corporation, which is involved in the laying of high power wires, tension wires. They wanted some permission for felling of trees in Rajaji, which is your next door forest. The court said deposit 50 lakhs. This 50 lakhs was used as a corpus for running the CEC. The direction was that this money will be invested in an FDR, and the interest arising out of that would be used for CEC. I'll come to CEC in a bit. So this will be used for it. That money from 1998 onwards till date, apart from running the CEC for all these years, has accumulated into an amount of 78 crores. This is the first tranche of money which has been used. So while granting permissions, the question of compensatory afforestation arose. Because when you fell down a tree, you have to compensate that area. The loss, that's how came the theory of compensatory afforestation. It was insisted upon. Though it was part of the statute, it was insisted upon. Now, while this was going on, by an order dated October 2002, the court said there are so many permissions which you are granting, there are so many things which you are doing. What is it, the monetary benefit which you must immediately have? Then that came out to the physiology of NPV. Now, every tree has a value. How do you value a tree? Tell me. How do you value a tree? Most of you will say in terms of the wood value. That was what was understood earlier. But this concept of net present value was derived to say the tree not only gives you wood, but it also gives you an amount of shade. It gives you oxygen. It absorbs carbon. There are so many things which it does. That has to be compensated. That is how the theory of NPV, net present value of a tree, was derived. And it became necessary that whatever permissions are granted henceforth from October 2002, NPV has to be levied. Initially, NPV was from 1,80,000 to about 5 lakhs, depending upon the classification of the forest. Then they appointed a committee known as Kanchan Chopra Committee, which traveled all over the country, examined everything, and has come up with a different notion of this thing, where the money is still kept. Now, this money was kept in a separate account known as ad hoc Kampa. And the idea was that, in what happens in forest is certain things have to be done during a particular period and during a certain time. You can't put up a sapling anytime you want. It has to be a particular time during the rainy season or when the sapling will grow. But what used to happen was that there will be a central allocation, the budgetary provision, release of the money, and by the time this money would trickle down to the concerned officer, it would become very difficult. The season goes. So therefore, they said no, this money will be kept in a separate account and would be used for purposes which is meant for, like, restoring the area which has been lost, spending it to the locally, etc. That led to the creation of NP. Now, what is CEC? As I told you, the court has no time. They were sitting only 2 hours for a week. They needed somebody who could give them time, who could know the technicalities of the matter, who could understand what the problem is by going to the site, etc. So therefore, they constituted a committee known as Central Import Committee. This was constituted by an order dated 9/5/2002. That's why I'm indicating this to you, that this was a body which was recommendatory in nature, which was a court's body, which would hear the parties by giving them full length of time, go to a site visit, and make its recommendation. That is why you will find in most of the orders of the court that we have gone through the report of the Central Import Committee, and the project proponent has agreed to the conditions laid down there, and we accepted. Of course, the CEC continued. Initially, this was a committee under Section 33 of the Environment Protection Act, which was constituted for a period of 5 years. This 5 years, after the lapse of this past 5 years, the central government found it was not to its liking. They did not renew the term. The court renewed the term of the court by making it a court-appointed committee, which continued till recently. Very recently, the composition of the CEC has been changed. The nature of the mandate has also changed, but that's not relevant for us. I'm only indicating the progress. Now, when the CEC was constituted, these were the things. The CEC then, NPV was there. Now, one reason which happened was one thing which you must know also is, while this felling of trees, etc., was banned by an order dated 14/2/2000, there was an order passed by the court which said, henceforth, there will be no removal of dead, diseased, wind-fallen trees, including grass. This applied to national parks, sanctuaries, and forest. Later on, the word forest was removed. Now, why I am indicating to you this order particularly is that this makes a distinction. Now, what happens on the ground, I have seen the local communities have to be protected. There are certain areas like fishermen who depend on fishing. So, what by virtue of this order, their complete vocations were being stopped. Their complete vocations were being stopped. So, there is a distinction. These activities are prohibited only in a national park and a sanctuary, not otherwise. So you can do fishing, you can do certain part of forestry activity if it is not a national park or a sanctuary. Today, as most of you know, that tendu leaves is a forest produce. If you go by this order of 14/2/2000, you can't remove it. Now, after this act had come, this order was passed, what was happening was, there was of course various reasons also. I don't know how many of you know, but the people sitting in the front will definitely know that for certain reasons, obvious reasons, there were a spurt in declarations of national parks and sanctuaries. For instance, under the National Forest Policy of 1988, when the goal was 1/3, 33%, immediately what happened? All sort of trees were gone. Whether they are good, bad, because they wanted to show. So this declaration of national parks and sanctuaries had happened. Now this has become a problem. which was turning into a political problem. So the state started denotification of national parks and. So by an order of 13/11/2000, the court said there will be no denotifications of these areas without the permission of the court. All that has now changed subsequently because this has been all given to the powers of the Ministry of Environment and Forest. So this is how it happened. National parks and sanctuaries were being done. Now, while giving permissions, as I said, CEC, while giving permissions, one has to watch what tree is being felled. It is not only trees, there are certain other things which have to be seen. For instance, I happen to be a part of it. There was a requisition IA from state of Karnataka that they want to fell down about 100 trees because it will connect two villages. The existing road is about 35 to 40 kilometers. But if this road connectivity is given, it will be only 5 kilometers. And lot of dairy farmers, etc. use it. What is this? What 15, 20 trees, 100 trees, what is there? Why should we? But there was strong opposition to it. Very strong opposition to it. The court said, why is so much of opposition? Then some vague reasons were given. The courts asked CEC to examine it. So I was part of the CEC. We had gone to Karnataka somewhere in the end of May or June, where summer is at its peak. When we went there, I was shocked. It's a Shola forest. Now, what is a Shola forest? It develops in the peaks, in the curves of the mountain, and it's a peculiar type of tree. One NGO said it's a water source. I was wondering how can tree be a water source? It is like a boab tree, which you must have heard, which is a special tree which carries within itself about 13,000 liters of water, which is sufficient for a village. So it is some sort of a this thing. These trees, when we went there. After we entered that forest, there was a difference of 5 degrees from outside and inside the forest. This difference of 5 degrees you will not find with the latest air conditioners also between the room and outside. Those trees are like a sponge. They will retain water during the rainy season and release it in summer. That is why it was called as a source of water. So what do we do with this? Is it necessary to protect this Shola forest, which must have taken hundreds of years or thousands of years to develop, or the road connectivity? This brings us to the issue of sustainable development. Now, how do you have to maintain a balance between the two? You can't say, we will only be live like an ancient fellow. You need roads for transport. You need so many things. So permissions are granted from time to time. Now, that is why, court in one of its order has said, discuss the issue of whether we should be anthrocentric or ecocentric. I'll read certain portions of the judgment. This related to, saving of Indian bustards. Now, bustard is a bird or animal which is very heavy and almost has become extinct. Only some people may have seen it if they come from those regions. And those birds had to be saved. Then, दूसरा judgment, wildlife. Ranjit Singh. नीचे करो इसको। Now, this was a case which was filed for saving of Indian bustards because they were being killed by the laying out of these high transmission wires, etc., for solar power panel. नीचे करो, red portion. एक minute. In the above background, that is after discussing this, there cannot be a disagreement whatsoever that appropriate steps are required to be taken to protect the said species of birds. In that view, insofar as the existing overhead power lines are concerned, the respondents, that is the states, shall take steps forthwith to install diverters, and in respect of existing overhead power lines, all future cases of installing the transmission lines, a study shall be conducted with regard to the feasibility for lines to be laid underground in all such cases where it is feasible. Steps shall be taken to lay the transmission line underground for the lines to be laid in future. अब नीचे करो तो और थोड़ा नीचे करो और थोड़ा नीचे और थोड़ा नीचे लाल हाँ. So this is the this thing definition of environment to include एक मिनट to include the interstate relationship which exists among and between water, air and land, and human beings, other living creatures, plants, microorganisms, and property. Why I have read this definition to you is sometimes people raise an objection as to why the court in the course of its environmental matter is dealing with wildlife, etc. Because there is an interstate relation between not only that, even fungi in the forest, which is part of the Biodiversity Act or wildlife, part of the definition of wildlife, is included in all this. Ab niche chalo. This is with regard to the protection of the red, with regard to the conservation of the habitat to secure the safety of the leg laid by the birds. The area earmarked and indicated as islands and shown in Annex A and in light coloring sketch here below shall be fenced and protected for invasion by predators so that the eggs laid in these areas are protected. The night ab niche aa. और नीचे हाँ नहीं और नीचे करो नहीं और ऊपर करो एंथ्रोपोसेंट्रिक और इकोसेंट्रिक रहेगा और थोड़ा और ऊपर करो I just tell you the paragraph. Para 4 निकालो. हाँ थोड़ा सा ऊपर थोड़ा सा लिखा ऊपर 47 पैराग्राफ एक पैराग्राफ और थोड़ा सा और ऊपर करो पैरा 4 में सब पैराग्राफ 17 हाँ but this court while consider हाँ बस ठीक है थोड़ा this court but this court while considering so and so IS has observed as under environmental justice could be achieved only we drift away from the principle of anthropocentric to ecocentric. Many of our principles like sustainable development, polluter pays principle, intergenerational equity have their roots in anthropocentric principles. Anthropocentrism is always human interest focused and that non-human has only instrumental value to human. In other words, humans take precedence and human responsibilities to non-human based benefits. Thoda nahi tha. To divide the humans and non-humans. The National Wildlife Action Plan 2002 and the centrally sponsored integrated development are centered on the principles of ecocentrism. You must, while we are talking of ecocentrism, we must also take care of the fact, as I indicated to you earlier, the local population, etc. That is why, by an order subsequently after 1996, somewhere around 98 or 99, the court clarified, because Northeast, what happens is a lot of people depend upon bamboo. It is required not only for the purpose, other purposes, but also for paper industry. And they are grown in plantations. So court clarified that the plantation, etc., the bamboos will not fall part of the trees because it becomes part of a grass species. Similarly, benefits have been given to the locals. Now, one of the orders which I read in 1996 is the states have been directed to constitute committees to identify forests. Some states have filed the affidavits, but court did not find time to take it. One recent order where court has approved is what is forest is, the state of Goa. The question arose, what should be the canopy cover? After these committees were constituted, some states have come up with their own definitions, saying, in 1 hectare of trees, it will be a forest. Some states have taken it 5 hectares number of trees. So in Goa, what happened? They had given up a definition of 10% canopy cover and more than 5 hectares of land. This was later on modified to 0.4 density of forest coverage with 1 hectare of land. Now this was debated, and while this was debated, the court has now finally confirmed a very recent order, maybe about 15-20 days back, confirming the modification of 0.4 of 1 hectare. Because otherwise what happens is, in states like Goa, hilly areas like your own state, Himachal, the density is high. And then a lot of areas would be covered. And if a lot of areas are covered, it will be difficult to people to even repair their houses. It will stop further development. It is contrary to the theory of sustainable development. So this order has been confirmed. For the others, it is still awaited. One, the CEC has been reconstituted. The orders of this thing is there. Now, one area which comes up while this matter is being taken is one related to mining. Mining has a devastating effect. And as I said, and we are assembled here to pay our homage to Sanjay Singh, who was a green warrior. According to me, he was a green warrior. Why I say so is because I want to indicate to you that the Forest Service also needs to be insulated. Earlier, what was insulated was only judiciary and administrative service. Because they thought, these are two institutions in which the administration can play a part or tilt them towards the side. Therefore, they said these institutions need to be independent. Maybe at that point of time, people could not foresee the importance of the Forest Service. Today, they face a lot of pressures. Therefore, I say that this institution also needs to be insulated so that they are protected from the pressures and they act as an independent. And that's the reason why I started by saying that if you stand by your duty, the courts are there to protect. I don't want to be afraid that I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Sherni. Today we are paying homage to our share. We don't know what would have gone through his mind, what he would have suffered. But ultimately, he laid down his life. But today, having learned these lessons, we should, and the courts are also saying, because courts have seen a number of cases, as I indicated to you, 3, but there have been an attempt and attacks, particularly on forest officers in Mount Abu, in Melghat, and some of the pictures which I have seen are pathetic. Therefore, the question arose, whether, particularly when I talk of the word, use the word forest, I include not only the people who are in the administration, sitting in cities, but a ranger on the ground. It is they who walk on foot, cycle, and protect large areas. And it is these people who need protection from poachers, from terrorists, to so many other kinds of people. Now, this was been going under debate in the court as to what should be done. When I interacted with some set of people, the views are diverse. One view is the ranger should not be given ammunition. Because today what happens is, he is not a threat to the poacher. So therefore they are not killing him as such. So they attack him. But if our forest officer is armed, they have a fear he will retaliate. So therefore, this was one view. The other view is, why shouldn't he be? Why shouldn't he have this thing, particularly when today's poachers, etc., are having arms, ammunitions, etc., which are far superior. So what should be done? This is being considered by the court. So where we have given suggestions like, the families of these officers should be insured. They stay away from the home. Therefore, some sort of home arrangement should be made, etc. In this regard, I must tell you, of course, I'm mentioning you without permission, but I don't think there will be any objection. The court had called for certain papers to be given, and one such paper has been given by Shri Samir Sinha, who is the PCCF and Chief Wildlife Warden in Uttar Pradesh. Of course, I happen to see it. It contains a good suggestion. I'll be sharing it with your institute. Go through it and give your suggestions so that you know how it can be improved or what are the drawbacks in that, so that we try to arm this institution. And one thing is, I am talking in terms, we are recommending that you should be given the powers of a police. Otherwise, today you depend upon the local police. For instance, the example which I gave you, where the lady officer was assaulted, after arrest, to show compliance of the Supreme Court order, they were released. And if the state releases them, who would appeal? And what happens is, under the Environment Protection Act, the Environment Protection Act takes precedence over the Criminal Procedure Code. If that is so, under the Environment Protection Act, it is you who have to take action. If you are not empowered with the powers of the police, what is the use of that power? So these are all areas which need to be debated, done through, and then you have to be insulated and empowered. I think I must have bored you too much. I must thank the organizers for having given me this opportunity, particularly Neeraj Yadav, who has been taking care of me since yesterday. Thank you. I'm open for any.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, your message that if we are there, courts will protect us is truly assuring. Officers need to be protected for their honesty, diligence, and for doing their duty in order for the protection of environment and forest. While the members of the judiciary work in our support, we shall be respectful of this privilege of protection and we shall do our duty very seriously. So, the insights that you gave from various judgments, including the Godavarman judgment, has expanded our understanding of laws and instilled in us a deep sense of reverence for our service. We now open the floor for an interaction with our esteemed chief guest. Over to the IFS probationers of the 2022 batch and the 2023 batch.
Good morning, sir. My name is Stalin Fidel Kumar, and I'm going to Bihar cadre. Sir, during your session, you are quoting about the interrelationship of environment with other factors, as quoted in the Supreme Court judgment. So we all learn these conceptual things during our training and our. But is there any lack now in applying from a bureaucratics from the side of bureaucrats in policy making? And because of that, the court is stepping into again saying about these interrelationships. So is there anything to be equipped from our side to apply these things in policy making?
That's why I said I'll share with you that so that you give your inputs. That's the reason I concluded by saying I'll share with you what is being given to the court so that you look into it, give your inputs, and as well as we indicate to us the drawbacks. We don't know. We learn only from you. What I apply is only after learning from you.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. And myself, Harsimran Singh Chima. Sir, I wanted to ask, like at the level of trial courts, whatever I have understood or read, the conviction rate under Wildlife Protection Act is very less because the trial courts are not particularly sensitized about the importance of wildlife or forest. So I wanted to know whether the Supreme Court or High Courts are paying any attention to sensitize the trial courts at the lower level.
No, in fact, one of the suggestions which is part of it is creation of special courts for these wildlife offenses. Because I'll tell you out of experience, once somebody goes to court, their whole motive is to delay because one party or the other benefits of a stay order or the pendency of the court. This was particularly true of these MPs, MLAs. And cases used to be go on for years together. So a couple of years back, special courts have been created for MPs, MLAs trials to be done. And there has been a substantial progress. Today, that is why you will find in the next general election, there will be at least 100 people because the law is once you are convicted, you can't contest. Today, you will find in the next election, at least 100 people who have become ineligible to contest. So on similar lines, in those suggestions which have been given, there is a suggestion for creation of, yes, you are right. There have been a lot of problems and this we find particularly in the Northeast. Apart from this, why low rate of conviction is, you are not, your statement is not that of under section 27 of the CRPC. You're not empowered like a police officer. That's the reason why I said you should be empowered. Because whatever you recover would become a statement for conviction under section 27. Because when you recover, what happens is there will be no eyewitnesses. Like in a narcotics case which is caught in the night, there will be no private independent witnesses. So unless you are relied and you see what it is, that's the reason why I said, you should be empowered. And second reason why this is happening is a lot of people do not know whether what is done is an offense or not. And you are right, what happens is by the time the trial comes, not only in your cases, even now I face it. In Supreme Court also there is a delay. A case which I filed about 10 years back is coming up now for a year. I don't get any instructions. I don't know whether my client is alive or dead, whether his children are interested in pursuing the litigation. Because you see, when the brothers fight, there's a vengeance. Today the children have gone abroad, they have made money. So what their father was fighting for a 5 acre of land is peanuts for them. They are not interested. Similarly, what happens in these wildlife cases also is, yes, some cases become infructuous because of lack of evidence or because the man is dead. or lack of knowledge by the judicial authority and assistance being given by the forest official. That is why it is necessary that you people are trained, attend courses, so that's one of the reasons why I told you that irrespective of the fact that there is no bail application, here was a case where bail was granted. So you must know the procedure, do it, perform it. You are right there that lack of time is creating the delays, etc. But that's why we are suggesting, some fast track courts for these offences.
Sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Sai Charan. Sir, my doubt is regarding the government this aspect. At the risk of sounding as anti-forest, sir, I'm talking on the other side from the private person's perspective, sir. After the Supreme Court has expanded the definition of forest and has included wide range, like including the dictionary definition of forest, sir. From a private person's perspective, let's say I am quite inclined towards environment and I have grown many number of trees in my particular private land. And now I am being penalized for being inclined towards environment by not allowing my forest to be developed for other non-forestry activities. So how can this dichotomy
Yeah,
be?
you are right there. This judgment has created a deterrent in going up a forest. That's why I refer to the Goa judgment, where they have said, taking into consideration what should be protected and what not be protected. They have not taken a forest density to cover as 10 or 0.1. If you take 0.1, then the entire area would come. If you take 5 hectares of land, say 75 trees, most of the area would come under forest. But now they have said 75 trees in 1 hectare, which may not be a general possibility. So you are right that this has become a deterrent. That is why, bamboo, etc., and plantations have been excluded now. Private plantations do not come.
So in continuation to this, sir, how is the recent
How do you?
amendment? How is the recent FCA amendment? Somehow it has addressed this and.
No,
but still-
recent amendments, there are a lot of problems. Recent amendments, there are a lot of problems. For instance, I tell you, the word used is prior permission in section 2. If you see the environment, this thing, EIA notification, it says prior permission. Now the amendment says ex post facto. The whole purpose of saying prior permission is defeated. If you can do it by the ex post facto, why should you use the word prior permission? So therefore, there are a lot of problems in the amendments. Let's not delve into that.
Sir, a second question, sir. Regarding NPV values, sir. So NPV values is basically provided based on class of forest, class 1,
Class
2,
1, class 2, class 3, class 4.
Sir, I'm just giving a suggestion and asking you your opinion, sir. Can't the NPV value be decided on case by case basis by the forest person in charge there, sir? Because we are being trained as technical person there. And
No, that's why Kanchan Chopra committee has given about 4 different classifications. You have to only see which classification it will fall. What you are saying would lead to a lot of problems. If you go to case by case, on the lighter side, I will tell you, when this sort of permissions were being granted and when we were being answering the court, one judge said, sir, it will be case by case. I simply gave an answer, sir, it will not be case by case, it will be suitcase by suitcase. This will be the problem. If you empower a local officer there, how will he determine? Now, for instance, when I said the question of NPV has to be paid, or forest clearance has to be done. Now, forest clearance comprises of 2 stages, stage 1 and stage 2. Now, how it was NPV was defeated was, lot of people, influential people, they did not pay NPV because they said my stage 1 clearance has been given prior to your order, so therefore I will not pay. Then the courts have to step in and say no. When we say clearance, it means both stage 1 and stage 2. Therefore, you have to pay. You know what happens? Why all this thing is being discussed is, a lot of times there is a collusion on the part of the administration and the so-called people. The best classic case is of Kamal Nath's case. He diverted a river. Now, a river can't be diverted without the connivance of the local police and the local administration. Only the court stepped in, therefore, that it was restored back. So these problems would be there if you give it to the local power to the local people. Now that is why the definition, of a person aggrieved has been changed. Earlier it was, you could challenge an act. Suppose you want to challenge some clearance given. Are you aggrieved person to give it? The definition of aggrieved person has been enlarged now. Earlier it has to be that you should be the person of the same area, you should be affected. But now person aggrieved has been enlarged to mean that whoever you may be, as long as you are able to show that there is a damage to environment, which will lead to problems, you can challenge it. That's why these definitions have changed. And we develop why in the course of learning. When you come across certain things, we don't know when these things were done. The court didn't know how it will be bifurcated. Stage 1, stage 2. Courts had to step in to say stage 1 also. And these things will come up gradually.
So just to clarify my statement there, sir, by case basis, I meant that let's take Shola Forest as an example. Shola Forest might fall into class 2 or class 3, but they should have had
No.
better.
See, Shola Forest cannot be formed into any category. It should be a total ban. It should be a total ban. That's why that 50-kilometer road has not come up till date. It is not the road which is important or a dairy farmer. Because if it is 5 kilometers, he will cycle. But this forest will not come for the next 1,000 years. Why should it be? Suppose even if you pay the highest amount of NPV, why should that forest be destroyed?
Exactly.
And here what happens is the local DFO or the local ranger or whoever it is, they will give you permission because they are under heavy pressure. We are not concerned with this forest or type of forest.
Are there any more questions? Thank you, sir, for so patiently answering the queries of the young officers and for clarifying multiple of the aspects of legal aspects that you touched upon.
To the best of my ability.
I request the Director IGNFA to felicitate the Honorable Chief Guest with a shawl for gracing this occasion.
Sir, very good.
I also request Director Sir to present a memento to Shri Adrian Rao Sir as a token of our gratitude. Thank you again, sir. I now request Shri Tarun S. to present the formal vote of thanks.
My dear forest fraternity, you have not toiled for fame or favor. Yours has been a love of labor, says Ruskin Bond in his ode to the Indian foresters. Often ignored in our breath and seldom cherished in our death, we are indeed the quiet men who do not boast. On behalf of the entire forester community and IFS fraternity, I extend my vote of thanks. At the outset, I thank Sri A.D.N. Rao, the chief guest of today's program, for his enriching and inspirational commemoration of the slain martyr and thousands of other nameless heroes that perish each year fighting to conserve India's last bits of wilderness. My sincere gratitude to Sri Ghansam Singh and Dr. Kanti Singh, parents of Sri Sanjay Singh, who epitomized courage, sacrifice, and love for their son by gracing this occasion year after year. Thank you, sir and ma'am. I thank Director IGNFA, Sri Jagmohan Sharma, for his constant support and guidance in organizing this lecture. Our sincere thanks to Srimati Kanchan Devi, DG ICFRE, Sri Anurag Bharadwaj, Director DFE, Sri Santosh Tiwari, DDG IRO, and special thanks to Sri Shashi Kumar, former Director, IGNFA. I extend my sincere gratitude to Professor Academics, Professor IST, Course Director of 54th and 55th TARA, and all the officers and faculty members of IGNFA for their continuous contribution to make this event memorable. I thank the retired IFS officers and senior IFS officers, participating IFS officers of live training workshop, and all esteemed guests from ICFRE, FRI, CASPOS, FSI for their gracious presence here. Last but not the least, I thank my fellow probationers of the 54 and 55th RR for their active presence and sincere interactions. Our special thanks to employees and staff of COE cell, caretakers, IT wing, and other support staff of IGNFA who toiled tirelessly in making not only this, but all the programs at the Academy successful. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Tarun. In the end, I would like to take the liberty to share a feeling. It's been said generally that you live only once. But today, a lesson from the life of late Sri Sanjay Singh. I feel the contrary, that you die only once, but you live every day. As we come to the end of this program, I request everyone to rise up for the national anthem. National anthem, please.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा उत्तर बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you all.
Yes, first. Thank you so much.